he had ability. He went to a junior college, community college, called Today, went on and graduated, went on and got a PhD from Emory, postdoc at NIH. He's a Howard Hughes investigator. Probably $450 million invested in his work on AIDS research. He's one of the leading producers of scientists in this country in producing both women and blacks who get PhDs about chemistry. Give Mike Summers a hand. And my point is, you can't assume we are talking about any one group when we talk about actors. We are talking about America's children of all races. And the other point is that they're in that Howard Hughes lab in biochemistry with the 800 NMR, nucleomagnetic resonance spectrometer, focusing on proteins and AIDS research. At the heart of the work, he would say IT serves as the nervous system of the lab that connects the wet lab with the NMR and computational lab. And so whether talking in the areas of how we teach and learn in general, or talking about the fundamental parts of scientific research, this IT importance becomes increasingly clear. Innovation is the name of the game. My question to you is, what happens on your campus that you would define as innovation? What do we mean by innovation? For me, and for my colleagues, when I talk to John Seuss and Jack Seuss and John Fritz and colleagues, faculty, we've come to believe that innovation has to do with using IT to look in the mirror, to understand where we are as an institution, administratively and academically, to understand where students are doing well, where they're not doing well, to understand the strategies that are working and those that may not be working, but most important, to understand where the picture is not what we want it to be. Because we have a vision of ourselves, and I would argue that you are working with your leaders on your campus and faculty leaders to say, who is it we want to be? We want to be a place that is a model of innovation and inclusive excellence. We want to be a place where students of all races, from all income backgrounds, from all over this country and beyond can come into a community in which we are working together to support each other. And most important, where the student has a good chance of making it. You know, many of you remember in your freshman class, the dean looked at you and said, look at the student to your left, look at the student to your right, and then the dean said, one of you will not graduate. I have often thought about that from my beloved Hampton. I love the place, but I don't like the fact that he said that. For this reason, here's the point. If I'm at all immature, and the guys tend to be immature a lot, you know that, right? I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, he knows me, so I may as well party since I'm going to flunk out anyway. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We say, look at the student to your left, look at the student to your right. Our goal is to make sure all three of you graduate, and if you don't, we fail, and we don't plan to fail. Give me a hand for that strategy. And here's the other part we appreciate. And I tell the parents this, if your son or daughter will listen to us, take our advice, and get the internship, and work with us, and learn how to work with people while learning the technology, or learning how to write, and learning how to present, we guarantee you that he or she will not have to come home and live with you when they graduate. Give me a big hand. That's what I want. Because I tell my students, they don't want you back at home. No. You grown, have your own house, right? Don't want you coming in at 2 in the morning talking about I'm grown, right? The key is this, it's about mindset as an institution. What is important? I refuse to believe that high quality means you keep people out or you keep people from graduating. I think high quality means you look at where the student is and you say, let's understand what we need to do. Let's use Blackboard. Let's use iStrategy to understand the background of the student, to understand our resources, to make sure the student can make it, to empower the student to be more involved. So let me give you 4 quick examples that you can go to our webpage and understand. Look at the work we're doing with Gates right now in connecting 2- and 4-year institutions. One of the big problems in America is that students leaving 2-year institutions interested in STEM, science and engineering, sometimes have difficulty making the transition over to the 4-year institution. And what we tend to do as a solution, is we exchange syllabi. I would argue that's the tip of the iceberg. What we're working to do is to have faculty on each campus, first of all, respecting each other, since half of Americans start in 2-year institutions, and getting them to understand how they're teaching, the strategies they're using, the grading they use, the standards they have, and most important, the expectations, to make sure we find a way that when the student graduates and finishes the first 2 years of chemistry at the 2-year institution, the student can come in comfortably, seamlessly, and make it at the other institution. But it can only happen as we use technology to build community and have the faculty on both campuses working collaboratively to make that happen. So we've just had a pilot study that shows amazingly what happens when you've got the ongoing exchange of ideas through the technology and getting together with four-year institutions going over to the two-year campuses, for example, and vice versa. And so our goal is to create a model that others can look at that talks about the use of IT in building relationships between 2- and 4-year science and engineering faculty. Another project from NSF called IQ, which focuses on innovation through institutional integration. And what it focuses on is our looking at different intervention strategies that we've used in the Meyerhoff program for minority students that can be helpful to students in general. So you've got everything from small groups to proactive mentoring by faculty to proactive mentoring by staff to some people being in a control group. And we want to see which of these strategies will make the biggest difference in the grades and in the persistence of students as we do two things. One, use Blackboard to look at effort by students, and two, focus on focus groups to understand quantitatively and qualitatively what's making the big difference. And then one that everybody's been talking about recently is the Ithaca report that Bill Bowen just put out, which showed that hybrid learning in selected courses was as effective as well-taught courses in person. We used our first-year statistics course and found, this is the first time we had done it, that the results were, there was no difference. And we will be working to continue to evolve that hybrid course. But what it said to people who were somewhat resistant to change was that you can't go by anecdote. When we do a systematic study, we're seeing how online learning and hybrid approaches, by monitoring the progress and working to improve it all the time, can lead to even more effective results sometimes than only having face-to-face, because there's more flexibility and students take greater ownership of that work. And then finally, something we call course redesign. And what I want to do before I talk about it is to focus on this next video.